Right, okay, we're just going to get altcoins, pop them to one side for a minute and focus on one thing, Bitcoin. Has the Bitcoin cycle ended? That's what we're going to discuss in this video because ultimately we're a slave to previous data to analyze probabilities of future results. That's what technical analysis is. And we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart. We're going to look at the Bitcoin cycle so far, why it's different this time, and if the Bitcoin cycle has ended. These two major charts have never been broken that will be broken for the first time. And the first thing that we're going to look at, and anybody that's been around on my channel for a long time, you've seen this for a long time. We've been analyzing this, we've been predicting it, and we've been predicting it for the last few years. Unfortunately, guys, this thing is nearly spot on towards the end of the Bitcoin cycle. This is something I hope I wasn't right on because we pretty much predicted it to the T. However, something is different this time, and that's what we want to talk about. So anyone that's new to the channel, remember the Bitcoin cycle, we tend to have 152 weeks from the previous bear to the bull. We can measure it going back here. There's the previous bear market. There's the all-time low. There's the top of the bull market. There's the all-time high of 2017. That's 152 weeks before Bitcoin went into a bear market into 2018. That lasted for 52 weeks. And then we put in a bottom. So we put in a bottom. And then what have we got? We've got 152 weeks to the T from the bottom to the top. So we've got 152, we've got 52, we've got 152, and then we put in a high and we enter a bear market and we come back down all the way to the low. That's 52 weeks, 52 bars. So we used that method to forward predict exactly when we thought that the Bitcoin cycle was going to end. And this has been going on for years, guys. Go back and watch my previous videos. So we expected 152 weeks based on past results. And look where it ended. It ended here, 2 weeks before the end. So there was a method in my madness that we were using predictions of the Bitcoin previous cycles to analyze exactly when this cycle is going to be different. However, what has changed in this cycle? We haven't had any on risk as far as not just crypto is concerned, but traditional markets. Why? Because of tariff wars. Why? Because of high interest rates. So that's one thing that's different, but that's not the charts that we're talking about. The charts that we're talking about is this. This is the NUPL, the net unrealized profit and loss. And what you can see is every single bull market at the peak, there's 2011, there's 2013, there's 2013. We had two rallies in 2013. There's 2017, there's 2021. One thing that you'll recognize every single time that we hit a market high, we are in euphoria. We are in extreme greed. And that hasn't happened yet with Bitcoin. You can see that the Bitcoin price is pushing up into 100,000, into euphoria, into greed as far as the actual price is concerned. But look, the net unrealized profit and loss shows that Bitcoin wasn't in euphoria at any given time during this cycle. So what does the net unrealized profit and loss measure? It measures exactly what it says, the unrealized profit or loss at any given time of Bitcoin wallet holders. So when Bitcoin wallet holders are in a profit overall collectively, this starts pushing up to euphoria, and that hasn't happened yet. So that's the NUPL chart, hasn't hit euphoria. That's the first chart that we were looking at. And the second one, everybody knows this, it is the crypto fear and greed. So what happens when you're in euphoria? That tends to coincide with greed sentiment, extreme greed. So one thing, when we look down and we look down, stick it on max, one thing that you can see is previous cycles were all in extreme greed. There's the 2021 cycle, extreme greed. So we get a crash in extreme greed, but when we're in extreme fear, what happens? You start getting pushes to the upside, you start getting pushes to the upside. And we're in extreme fear right now. We're really in fear right now. We've been in fear for a while. So the markets don't end in fear, is what I'm saying. The markets end in euphoria. Markets end in euphoria. Markets crash. People lose lots of money. Then the market cycle resets after a period of time before we start turning bullish again. But we don't end markets in extreme fear. It's never happened before. So it's never happened before with Bitcoin. We've never not hit euphoria as far as the NUPL's concerned. However, we look at the chart and we can see that the cycle is finished. So we are in uncertainty now. It doesn't mean that the cycle's not finished. It doesn't mean that the cycle is finished. We're just looking at different charts to analyze probabilities of exactly what's different this time. There's a red herring here. We haven't had any flow of liquidity going through the economy. We haven't had any flow of liquidity going through the consumer, me, you, retail. We haven't had that spare cash due to low interest rates, due to cheaper loans. Unfortunately, guys, it hasn't gone direct to consumer. And when it goes direct to consumer, it flows into the economy. Remember 2021, we had loads of free money. What happened when people get free money? They go on risk, they go degen. So we haven't had any of that yet. We haven't had any narrative pumps. We haven't had any positive news. It's all been driven by interest rates. It's all been driven by tariffs. So I'm saying something's different this time. We need to monitor this. We need to understand exactly how to play this going into 2026. And of course, we need to look at the big daddy Bitcoin. So guys, if you did enjoy this video and you want more macro, let me know in the comments and I'll be covering more videos for you in the future, just like this. I'll see you in the next one.